GIAA.TV now brings you more live coverage of more sports than ever before. Announcing GIAA.TV Lite with live coverage of swim, wrestling, cheer, and more. GIAA.TV Lite is the next best thing to being there. From one screen, you will hear the crowd, see the action, the scores, the stats, and more. With no play-by-play or instant replays, GIAA.TV Lite is half the price of our regular broadcast. Announcing GIAA.TV Plus. With all of your fan favorites, GIAA.TV Plus now adds volleyball, softball, all-star football, and more. Featuring all the play-by-play, instant replays, multiple angles, and more, all for less than the cost of 2 adult tickets to the event. Don't miss 1 second of the action all year long, only on GIAA.TV.
What's up, everyone? Welcome in to the GIAA High School Scoreboard Show. Thrift Barringer and Richard Holdridge coming in at 11 o'clock. As always, actually, it's 11:05, and we're here to update you on what's happening around the GIAA week number 6.
Halfway point.
Wow. I cannot believe that, man. It is pretty awesome that we are already halfway through this point, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. By the way, we had Max Preps go down at about 9:30 today, so no one was able to put in updated scores. So we've been trying our best to get as many scores as we can possible. So if you're watching right now, leave us some comments on Facebook. We'll shout them out in the broadcast. I'm telling you that right now. It may be unofficial, but we don't care. We didn't get the official scores from Max Preps, so that is the only way we can update the entire state on what happened here in week 6, Rich.
Yeah, we do have about 14 scores. Thank the schools that actually updated on their Facebook page. That's where I got it. In fact, I actually went on Brentwood's Facebook page, and they live streamed a fantastic finish against John Millage. As John Millage, we'll get into that. That was just a great game. And we appreciate everybody that's really been keeping us posted. And we want to thank Clint Morgan also for giving us some score updates as well.
Yeah, exactly right. So looking forward to that. And Max Preps, don't follow us again. Come back up. Come on, Max Preps. We need
Come on, Max Preps. We need you.
Bad. All right. As we always do to start every show, we have the Mallory and Evans team of the week. And we have a big team last week, which honestly it's new to this because they're the new team. I mean, they're the team that's going to win it for the first time in not first time in 3A, but this year, John Millage is about to win it for the first time. So we're going to throw it over to Drew because I'm butchering all this right now. The main point is we got a powerhouse that's back dominating like they once were 2 years ago when they had their 80-game winning streak. Let's find out the Mallory Evans team of the week.
Hey, everyone. Drew Butler here, Vice President of Business Development at Mallory and Evans. Excited to present this week's Mallory and Evans GIAA Team of the Week. It might not be a surprise, but congratulations to John Millage Academy. You are the Mallory and Evans GIAA Team of the Week. You beat Bullock Academy 27-18, handing Bullock their first loss in 2 years. Way to go, everybody at John Millage Academy. Congratulations. You are the Mallory and Evans GIAA Team of the Week.
Thank you to Drew for coming on, and as always, he does. Thank you to Mallory and Evans and their support of high school football in the GIAA. And John Millage, back to dominant performance, Richard. Really impressed from what I saw from them as you're seeing the highlights right now in their massive win over Bullock Academy, the defending 4A state champions last week, Richard.
Yeah, they had just an incredible game against Bullock Academy. It went down to the wire. It was one of those games where, John Millage was just hot out the gate, but I cannot believe how good that tight end was. Asa Wall with 6 receptions, 113 yards, and a touchdown. And Duke Hart, he had 139 yards passing. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's Bullock Academy highlight. The guy slips right there. But, John Millage on the road in Statesboro, getting the victory against the defending 4A champions. What a win.
Yeah, massive win for them. And John Millage is back to their dominant way. So here is your Mallory and Evans Team of the Week. It's John Millage. And that 3A classification.
Look at that run.
Oh, man.
He cannot be stopped.
Unbelievable, man. And John Millage, obviously, to go into Bullock and win the way they did, as you saw them do the tush push.
Oh, yeah.
It's legal here in the GIAA. It was 14-6, a handoff for their running back.
Look at that
and
hole.
The speed was just too much for Bullock as he takes it all the way to the house for an absolute touchdown. So big run there by Bullock. By John Millage. And then another one here. Bad tackling by
That's Asa Wall. Look at him go. Asa Wall is going to be gone.
Showtime for John Millage as they got a massive win, and you're seeing a big tackle here. Stopped them, and John Millage picked up the upset over Bullock Academy out of 4A. And so great job by John Millage. Thank you again to Drew Butler and Mallory and Evans. We're going to take a break. When we come back from break, we're going to update you on what's happening
those scores
this week. We're starting to get more and more here on the GIAA Scoreboard Show. We'll be right back after this.
This copyrighted broadcast, presented exclusively on GIAA.tv, is copyrighted by the Georgia Independent Athletic Association, a division of the Georgia Independent School Association, for the private use of our audience. It may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the Georgia Independent School Association.
Founded in 1985, the Georgia Independent School Association proudly represents nearly 170 accredited private, independent, and parochial schools across the state. From Tallulah Falls to St. Simon's Island, from Columbus to Augusta, our schools serve over 76,000 students every year. Whether parents are interested in smaller class sizes, more individual attention, a religious-based curriculum, or a safe and structured environment, the GISA provides a strong education, which is the foundation for success. To learn more about the GISA and how they can serve your school, visit us online at www.gisaschools.org.
Welcome back, everyone, here to the GIAA Scoreboard Show presented by The Bet. That's Rich. I'm Thrift. Thank y'all so much for joining us here on this late Friday night. Let's talk about some scores. How about Calvary? 70-piece. They put on Sim Charter. They were 56-6 at halftime. Emmanuel Brunson's team goes to 5-0. Start the season, and they got a big win over the.
You're talking about a team that only won one game last year to go to 5-0. What an improvement in year two in the GIAA by Coach Emmanuel Brunson, taking on a GHSA school. Yeah, they are a very small team. They only have 30 players, but
actually they had less than that.
They had less than 30 players. Oh wow! So they had. Pretty much, I don't think anybody subbed. I mean, because you have a.
They didn't have enough to fill two teams.
They have enough. They were playing offense and defense mainly. But Calvary, they got a very special quarterback in Braxton Wilkinson, and he has weapons. Jamar Williams, Nate Stokes, the receivers, Luke Scoggins, Sawyer Talbot, Keen Hinton, Jakari Harris. I mean, he's just got weapons. That offense is humming. They got a big game next week. They are hosting their region rival, Brookstone.
And if you look at the 4A classification, there's a ton of undefeated and one-loss teams that are all thinking they have a legitimate chance to win a championship.
Absolutely.
Another one of those, which is probably the biggest game we had this week. It's another number one versus number two, and Brookstone's involved in it again. This time, number two was Stratford, and Stratford welcomed Brookstone in and gave them a shellacking. 41-14. It was 27-14 late in the fourth, and then Stratford's running back, who has just been absolutely sensational to start the year. He got a big win over Pacelli earlier in the year. They now go to 5-0 on the season. Tyler Stevens, the running back, is putting up close to 200 yards. He almost had that tonight against Brookstone. Stratford now is 5-0 on the season, and they have John Millage coming up next week. So we got John Millage Academy taking on a really good Stratford team next week. So just week after week, these teams are just beating each other up for what should be an exciting playoffs. But good win for the Cougars. Good win for Stratford. And now Stratford looks like they are the de facto number one team in 4A. The Eagles, 5-0 to start the season, and now they're number one.
They went to the state championship a couple of years back in 2022. I want to see when was the last time Stratford won a state championship, because now they have proven that they can win the state championship in 4A. I had a down season last year. They missed out on the playoffs, but they're back. And Stratford, they got a huge win. It was a statement win down in Macon.
It was a big statement win indeed for Stratford, and we can't wait to see them take on John Millage. Brookstone goes to Calvary, so that's going to be fun for next week.
Absolutely.
Southwest Georgia Academy, they bounced back in a big way over Calhoun County, 44-0. After losing last week at home to Brookstone, Southwest Georgia now goes to 3-2 on the season. So good win there by Southwest Georgia.
Yeah, what a way for the runner-up in 2A to bounce back after losing to Brookstone. The Southwest Georgia Academy taking on Calhoun County, which was a public school out of the GHSA. But yeah, dominant win.
Yeah, very big win for them. Now let's go to another team that's undefeated. So there's several teams that came in this week undefeated in 4A, Richard. Brookstone and Stratford, which they faced off against each other. The other undefeated teams were Calvary and George Walton.
How about that?
How about the Fighting George Waltons? They beat Athens Christian, the Bulldogs, 40-16. George Walton now goes to 5-0, make that 6-0 on the season. I'm telling you, people sleeping on George Walton. I'm not. 6-0 to start the year, and coming up their last 4 games of the season after they just beat Athens Christian tonight. They got Loganville Christian, who's 4-1, Piedmont, and then they end it with Bethlehem Christian and Rock Springs. So George Walton looks like a team that could potentially finish undefeated, but a big win tonight over Athens Christian to go to 6-0.
Yeah, and they got that dual threat quarterback, A.J. Dillard, running the offense. George Walton, you talk about just grouping a bunch of teams in 4A, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, a team like Calvary that's undefeated is ranked 10th, because it's top heavy in the top of 4A. It's going to be interesting to see how the playoff seedings are going to face. And George Walton's one of those teams. It kind of reminds me of Bethlehem Christian last year. Remember, they were kind of flying under the radar. They went undefeated, but they didn't really play a whole lot of teams. That's why they weren't ranked as high. And then, you know, they ended up facing, you know, some really good teams. But yeah, that's a team to look out for, George Walton.
All right. Just go to John Millage, the team of the Mallory Evans team of the week, got an upset win over Brentwood.
What
the undefeated Adam Lords go down 31-28 in a good game, and John Millage is doing an amazing job to start this season off. Remember last year, I was not used to and accustomed to seeing a team that has won 84 games in a row to have a losing season like they did. But hey, big win here tonight. John Millage keeps it going. They go to 5-1 on the season, and you see who they play next week, which is going to be a lot of fun as well. But good win for John Millage, Richard.
Yeah, we talk about that tight end that's going to be playing on Saturdays, Asa Wall, who's being recruited by multiple schools. He is just a deep threat. Brentwood was leading late in this game. John Millage was able to come from behind and get just an incredible victory. What a win for John Millage.
Yeah, it was a big win for them, and they take on Stratford next week at home. So sign me up for that one, Richard.
Oh,
that
yeah.
should be
Let's
a lot
bring
of fun.
it. Let's do it.
How about Westfield? 2-2.
What an upset.
People were acting like, is Westfield done? Are they actually going to compete? Remember how good they were last year, their number 1 team at the end of the season. Westfield then beats FPD, not PFD. FPD, that happens, Rich. FPD 33-22. Good win by Westfield as they take down rival FPD in a big one. They go to 3-2 on the season. That's FPD's second loss now. So what's going on with Coach Collier's team? But Westfield, big win for them.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a 3A school that is in mainly a classification with a bunch of 4A teams. So now you're looking at what the teams that Westfield School has to play. Now, Brookstone, Pacelli, Calvary, Strong Rock, they all are capable of winning and winning at the highest level. So what a great win for Westfield.
Yeah, it is a big win for them, and glad to see that Westfield able to bounce back as always, Richard. Westminster, they beat Holy Spirit 63-6. We like calling this the Bloodbath McGrath.
Oh, man.
If you ever seen Wild Wild West and Will Smith, Kevin Kline in the 90s, there's a character on it named Bloodbath McGrath, and he was not a great character, but obviously the name means that there is some type of destruction going on a football field, and that is exactly what happened in Westminster and Holy Spirit. It was a bloodbath, 63-6 win there. And Vidalia Heritage, how about Vidalia Heritage, Richard, able to get a win 59-8 over Baker County. So great win for Vidalia Heritage.
Yeah, definitely. They're playing the public school, Baker County, 8-man football. And I've noticed something like the 8-man football, they'll play the freelance teams. You'll see them play Stewart County. You'll see them play like Harvester Christian, the homeschooled that, they don't have a lot of students. So, they play 8-man football, and they dominated.
Yeah, they did. We got some comments. Kevin Robbins, thank you. Pinewood defeats EVA 13-10. We appreciate your comment in overtime. Corey Beverly says Frederica wins big. How about Frederica?
How about Frederica
getting a win? And then Brave Bulldog says Bethlehem Christian beats Loganville Christian 21-14 in a rivalry, Richard. That's a big win because Loganville Christian came in 4-1 on the season. So good win for Bethlehem Christian to take down their rival here tonight, Richard. And now Bethlehem Christian goes to 3-2 on the season.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Excuse that. Make that 4-2 now. So they are even with Loganville Christian. So good win for Bethlehem Christian as they take them down. And Bethlehem Christian Knights 4-2 on the year. Let's continue on, Richard. Let's talk about some of the scores that we know we had, which includes Flint River. How about the Fighting Joe?
The Fighting Joe Howards?
And Wildcats. First down. Wildcats. I just love he reminds me, and Joe, I love you when I say this, Tiger King. And the Tiger King, he would love speaking to his Tigers and wow, and just getting fired up. Or if you ever seen Last Chance U, and when they went to East Mississippi Community College, I think it was season 1, there's a guy that shows up to every game and he always roars like a lion. And that's exactly what I think of with Joe Howard. Flint River bounces back Calvary 48-0 over Cross Keys.
There's just something about like these private schools are beating these public schools. I mean, I'm wondering, like Cross Keys, they're pretty good at basketball. They're pretty good at other sports. I'm wondering if they're not putting all the focus on football, because this is not supposed to happen, to see these private schools beat the public schools. But Flint River has proven that they're back on top after losing to Calvary Christian last week.
Yeah, so great job by Flint River. Pacelli takes on a public school in Whitfield, and a tough one for Pacelli, 63-24. Whitfield is a good
they're really good.
GHSA. Yeah. Pacelli now goes to 2-3 on the season. So they'll need a bounce back here in the next couple of weeks, as they'll be on the road again next week as they take on Strong Rock, which is a really good program
over there in Locust Grove.
Yeah, so big win for them. So, all right. And Calvary Christian, thanks to Gamer C, talking about the Knights getting a big win. We talked about that, and 70-12. So thanks, Gamer C, for the shout out.
Appreciate you.
Richard, let's go back to some of the scores. Deerfield Windsor takes down Terrell 34-0, the number 1 team in 3A, and the only undefeated team in 3A. Stays undefeated and goes to 5-0 in the season, and a big win over Terrell Academy 34-0, Rich.
Yeah, we saw Deerfield Windsor in the state championship last year. And one thing about Deerfield Windsor is they got athletes, because we saw them in basketball. And they have a quarterback, Lane Seals, he is just a phenomenal athlete. Yeah, Lane Seals, 14 touchdown passes this year. And he's also a basketball player, because we happened to see him last Christmas in a tournament in Alabama.
Yeah, we did. So Lane has been a great quarterback for Deerfield Windsor, and their hot start here so far. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll wrap it up with any other scores we got around the state and some big games coming up next week here on the GIAA Scoreboard Show, presented by the Beck Center on GIAA.TV.
GIAA.TV now brings you more live coverage of more sports than ever before. Announcing GIAA.TV Lite with live coverage of swim, wrestling, cheer, and more. GIAA.TV Lite is the next best thing to being there. From one screen, you will hear the crowd, see the action, the scores, the stats, and more. With no play-by-play or instant replays, GIAA.TV Lite is half the price of our regular broadcast. Announcing GIAA.TV Plus. With all of your fan favorites, GIAA.TV Plus now adds volleyball, softball, all-star football, and more. Featuring all the play-by-play, instant replays, multiple angles, and more, all for less than the cost of 2 adult tickets to the event. Don't miss 1 second of the action all year long, only on GIAA.TV.
Welcome back, everybody. Thrift Barringer here, Richard Holdridge. GIAA Scoreboard Show presented by the Beck Center. Next week, John Millage goes to Stratford. I am looking forward to that one. Brookstone goes to undefeated Calvary.
Wow.
Those are going to be fun games that I'm looking forward to, Richard. So can't wait for either one of those wins. How about Southland, by the way? They were able to beat Tift area today.
Good
so they
win.
go to 4-2 on the season.
Yeah.
Southland takes on Terrell Academy next week. And, Southland's a 3A school. As far as Dilfer Windsor, who is now 5-0 on the season, Richard, they got coming up next week. If I could just get the score on my phone, they take on Bethlehem Christian. So Baconton Charter. I apologize. Baconton Charter is who Deerfield Windsor will be facing off against next week. So those are some of the key games that I'm thinking about in the area. At Tift area will take on Valwood in a few weeks as well. 3A classification. Got a bunch of big games coming up here in the next couple of weeks. It's going to decide who's in first place. But I think right now, Deerfield Windsor is the favorite in 3A. And 4A, Stratford is the favorite after taking down Brookstone. They've beaten Pacelli. Still got FPD coming up here in a few weeks. Brookstone I would put in the mix as a team that can win a championship as well. In 2A, I really like Southland. I think they're battle tested. Southwest Georgia, and then of course Brentwood, who lost a classic here today. And in 1A, I would go Edmund Burke. I think those are some of the key teams I'm thinking about for teams that could win a championship in each classification through week 6 so far, Richard.
Yeah, we have so many great games next week, including Brentwood taking on Briarwood, Augusta Prep taking on Gatewood. We've got Loganville Christian taking on George Walton. And, of course, you mentioned Stratford and John Millage. I think David Emanuel taking on Fullington Academy in 8-man football is going to be good. How about Sherwood Christian and Georgia Christian? Sign me up for that one for 8-man football. As 2 just bitter rivals. Sherwood Christian out of Albany, the defending 8-man champions. Georgia Christian, who they got knocked off by Sherwood Christian in the regular season last year. And then, unfortunately, they lost to Fullington. They wanted to try to defend that loss that they had. That was actually in Albany. This time it's going to be in Valdosta. Bethlehem Christian taking on Athens Christian. Mount DeSales taking on FPD. And, of course, we've got Bullock Academy taking on Tatnall Square.
Yes, we do. So that's going to be a busy week for week 7. And before you know it, we got one more month of regular season football. And then it's time for the playoffs. I mean, we literally have 5 weeks of regular season football left.
Road to Macon.
I'll say it one more time. 5
more weeks
of regular season football left.
Wow.
I am already feeling sick to my stomach right now.
Football,
don't go away, please. Neither will the GIAA Scoreboard Show. And then coming up next month, starting in October, inside the GIAA, we'll start making an appearance because guess what? The rankings are back. And we also got rankings already out for volleyball right now, for softball, as they'll be having their championships coming up October the 10th, 11th. We will be live from Shorter. Can't wait for that. You can watch for volleyball, GIAA.TV is where you can watch the championships. And then the following week in South Commons, that is October 16th, 17th, and 18th, we'll have all 4 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A softball state championships. And then, of course, coming up in November, that is November the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, flag football 8-man all-star game on the 20th, 1A and 3A on the 21st, 2A and 4A on the 22nd. And they will be from Mercer, for the 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A state championships that Friday and Saturday. Cannot wait for those coming up here in the next month or two, man.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And we're going to have crowned champions in less than a month. And it's hard to believe. And I know that I'm excited about it. I'm getting fired up for that Inside the GIAA show. We've got some teams that, the rankings are already out. And so we've got some teams that could repeat. And we got some newcomers that could surprise some people definitely coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Well, we've had a lot of fun. We are presented by the Beck Center. It's the GIAA Scoreboard Store on GIAA.tv. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you next Friday night at 11 o'clock right here on GIAA.tv.
This copyrighted broadcast, presented exclusively on GIAA.tv, is copyrighted by the Georgia Independent Athletic Association, a division of the Georgia Independent School Association, for the private use of our audience. It may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the Georgia Independent School Association.